Mario Kart 64, the pinnacle of split-screen kart racing. It's regarded as one of the best, if not the best, Mario Kart to date. It introduced so many things to the series and made the jump to 3D. While today the graphics are dated and the character selection is small, it remains the most competitive entry in the series. Today, I'm going to answer a question that nobody has ever asked. Can you beat Toad's Turnpike while obeying traffic laws? Toad's Turnpike is a unique course in Mario Kart 64, but its template has since been used in plenty of future games. The course takes place on a highway and has full-sized cars and trucks driving alongside the kart racers as obstacles. For most of the track, there are 3 lanes, but there's actually a point where it merges into 2 lanes. So here's what I have to do. On each CC in the game, I need to get in first place while driving as if I was a real car. I can't drive between cars, which is what you're supposed to do, unless I'm merging, and I can't drive between the cars and the shoulder. Speaking of the shoulder, that's the only location on the track where there are item boxes, so I won't have a single power-up for the entire race. In order to simulate real driving as much as possible, I'm also making myself honk the horn before merging as a sort of turn signal. Let's start this off at 50cc. Thankfully, Toad's Turnpike is the first race in this Grand Prix. Unthankfully, that means that every single time we have to start in 8th place. So I started as Yoshi and had to pass by these item boxes, unable to get their help in my endeavor. I tried to stay in the same lane unless I was forced to switch because of a car in my way, but obviously the other bigger racers got in my way. I noticed for the first time while doing my first lap that the cars are actually programmed to follow paths that sometimes make no sense. This white car is driving with the white lines down its middle. That makes total sense from a gameplay perspective because otherwise the racers could just cheese it and stay on the line the whole race and avoid every car. So that means that some of our obstacles are offset enough that they won't impede our progress. This car being here means we can't merge, but it also means we don't have to. Yoshi is really good at turning on a dime, which in normal races is a good thing, but since I can't really dodge between cars because of my rules, his turning actually makes it harder to keep up speed. It was pretty easy to quickly merge when I needed to dodge trucks and cars because I'm going so slowly. I've been in first since the beginning of the race, and it hasn't even been a challenge. I finished on my first try and was able to check 50cc off the list. It went about as I expected, and I didn't think 100cc would be much different. I was wrong. Once again I picked Yoshi and immediately spun out. Light characters bounce off of heavier characters, and this hurt me right off the bat. By the second lap, I had pushed up quite a bit. Bowser was determined to shove me into this truck, but I managed to get back on track and continue on as a law-abiding dinosaur. The AI seemed to have trouble with the cars too, and when this happened, I thought maybe I had a chance to pull off another first try win. Unfortunately, Peach was just too far ahead. The lack of items helping me and not being able to stay close to the curve gave me a 3rd place finish, and I had to try again. On my second attempt, I got greedy and tried to draft behind Toad, but ended up getting stuck at this merge. I had to slam on the brakes instead of just staying to the truck's left, and it lost me the race. Funnily enough, Bowser slipped on a banana peel and I rammed into him. This shot me into the shoulder, and I got an item box. I wasn't sure what to do about this because I hadn't broken one of my rules, but I also unfairly obtained an item box. Thankfully, it didn't matter because this happened, so I had to try again anyway. Due to this loss, I decided to try as Bowser. I rammed through the start and took an early lead. I got to feel like I got my vengeance by blasting Yoshi out of the way. The cars ended up being the real heroes here, and they took out my 2 speediest opponents. After that, it was an easy path to victory. So now it's time for 150cc, the speediest speed. I went with Donkey Kong this time because of his superior handling. I blasted off to a good start and stayed in one lane for as long as I could. At the merge, I had to slam on the brakes again, but I managed to stay on pace. Toward the end of the race, when the track is 2 lanes, I ran into a problem. A truck and a bus stay side by side for quite a while, leading up to the finish line. This is interesting design for the game because it makes you take the dangerous path between them if you want to stay in first, but I can't do that. I had to hit the brakes and get an abysmal 5th place. Angered by this, I decided to try Yoshi, thinking that I'd be able to make some sort of crazy turn that would make me get past the obstacle. A lucky boost and bump in the beginning rocketed me into first place, and I fell into the now familiar path I had been taking for the last few races. I stayed in first throughout the race, only having to dodge some bananas. When I reached the finish line, the truck and bus were positioned slightly differently, and I was able to fit between them, making a nice and legal merge into first place. So that was Toad's Turnpike. I finished it at all speeds while obeying traffic laws. I had to switch between characters based on my strategy, but I was able to overcome every challenge the game threw at me. Well, not really, actually. There's one more. Like all modern Mario Karts, this game has mirror mode, called Extra Mode. This flips the track so that all left turns become right turns, and all right turns become left turns. It's 150cc, and I have to do it again, but in the other direction. That shouldn't be too hard, right? Right? No, because Toad's Turnpike is unique among all Mario Kart tracks. When it is mirrored, it also has obstacles that are reversed. In this level, the cars come toward you. That means I'm going to have to deal with twice the amount of cars, traveling twice as fast, and none of my old strategies are going to work, because I'll have to merge totally differently to dodge the obstacles. I can honestly say I did not think this was going to be possible when I started this video, but I tried anyway. I tried as Yoshi, who is my go-to racer, and I got in first quickly. I ended up not doing too well and broke my own rule here by accident. I did this again the next race, and in general, mirror mode was proving to be significantly more challenging. I crashed more in these 2 races than I did in all of my prior attempts at the other speeds combined.
This is a load of barnacles.
Let me show you this BS. This dodging here isn't even the hardest part of the race, and I usually fail at it. These turns are just too much for Yoshi. He turns too sharply to make left and right turns in quick succession like this. My attempt is not going well, and me placing in 8th place did not help my morale. So I'm in 8th place on the last lap. I pass Bowser and Toad with my raw speed. I pass Peach by sticking to the inside of the curve. Mario gets hit by a truck and explodes. Donkey Kong is spinning out by the mercy of some glorious NPC shenanigans, as is Wario. Luigi gets taken out by a fake item box, and suddenly I'm in first place coming around the final turn. I nail the hardest maneuver in the level, and then Luigi comes in and knocks me off course into an illegal maneuver. I try to get back on course, but I turn too tightly and ram into this truck. By the time I recover, I finish in 2nd place. In my next attempt, I got too into the zone and ended up making this illegal maneuver. I decided I needed a change of pace, so I tried as Donkey Kong next. His handling is just so much better, and I figured he can make those difficult turns easier than Yoshi. Now, there's nothing against breaking the laws of physics in this run, so me clipping through this truck is totally allowed. It's also unavoidable in a game this janky. I managed to make some perfect merges and stay out in front for a while on this attempt. This race was smooth sailing until I reached the end of the 2nd lap. These 2 trucks coming at me are almost impossible to get through. I would literally have to let them hit me because there's no way through them. I was sure that was going to be the end. I think the cars are on a set path, meaning that they're the same every time, and that those 2 trucks would always be side by side. That would make the race unbeatable with my current rules. I tried again in hopes that it would be different, but nope, it happened again on lap 1 this time. Coming around the bend on the 2nd lap, I see the 2 trucks again. I'm in 7th place, so I ran into the trucks at a different part in the lap, but they're still impossible to pass. I tried again, this time thinking I would just bite the bullet and crash into the trucks and take the hit and hope that I can still get in first place. I have memorized the pattern by now. Hug the right, merge, wait for the white car, merge left again, swap between left and the middle lane for a while, waiting for my chance to switch over to the inner curve. At the end of the 1st lap, I crashed and kept on moving. At the end of the 2nd lap, I got blasted by a star out of bounds. Thankfully, I did not have to face the 2 trucks of death. That put me in 7th place at the start of the 3rd lap in a challenge that does not allow me to use items. so I was sure that this race was a wash. But somehow, I managed to come back. I sped past some of the slower characters and knocked Toad into oblivion. Wario crashed headlong into a truck, and suddenly I was in second place. Bowser was pretty far ahead and I was coming around the last turn, but this race raised my confidence. Maybe, if I drove perfectly, I could make up for taking a few hits, and with some luck from the bad AI, Bowser just ran into a car. Yet with 2 seconds left in the race, I pulled in first based only on the luck that Bowser decided he didn't want to live anymore, and finally this challenge is completed. To be totally honest, I started off thinking that this would not be possible, and after upwards of 10 failures, I was sure that it couldn't happen. But during my various attempts, I started to learn all the merges I had to make and just got better and better at it, and then this happened. By sheer luck, everyone in front of me exploded. Is it possible to beat Toad's Turnpike in all modes by obeying traffic laws and not dodging between cars? Yes, it is, but there is huge elements of luck involved. A few of my attempts were ruined because the AI hit me into an illegal position, or I just went between cars without thinking. This is one of my favorite games, and I really enjoyed doing this, even though it felt like work, because it made me learn more about the game itself. I already have an idea for a follow-up, but I don't know when I'll be able to get around to making it. But yeah, I am now a pro elite gamer. Expand Dawn.